We're here, and of course it's not the Pat and Patty show, and this is Pat Hughes and Deena Sanfilippo, and we're kind of dealing with the idea that we need to have a show name, and we just be kind of silly and do one where your initials are DS and mine's PH, and we got PHDS, and we're kind of smart, and that kind of fits with PhD. So we're the Paulding.com PhDs. That means we're just kind of smart or smart asses or smarter. Anybody that appears with us is smart. Let's put it that way.
I like that.
You like that? I thought it might be pretty good. And of course, being kind of like PhDs, we're thinking about the big picture, about how things fit together. And you were actually in front of the commission the other day.
I was.
Talking about how things fit together. And it was, you were talking about poverty. And you had some interesting things to say. Apparently there was some interest on the commission of what you had to say. Kind of elaborate on that experience.
Okay, well, what I talked about was the increase in poverty in Paulding County, and a good bellwether of the financial situation of families in Paulding County is looking at school data, because a lot of times when you're looking at data such as census data, that is just a snapshot in time when the census is filled out, and when it comes out 3-4 years later, things have changed. But with school data, it's real time, and I was able to get data from several sources. I was able to use data off of Schooldigger.com to get historical data from 2005 up to the I think 2013 school year, and then I was also able to get current data from the Board of Education for the 2015-2016 school year, and I was able to look at the trends concerning poverty of school children in Paulding County, and there has been a significant increase from 2005 to 2015. There's been a 95% increase.
95%?
A 95%.
Doubling almost?
There's been a 95% increase in the number of children in Paulding County receiving either a free or reduced lunch, where during that time period we only had about a 25% increase in student population, with the bulk of the increase coming from in both student enrollment and the increase in the number of children receiving a free and reduced lunch occurred between 2005 and then again from 2009 to 2011. So
okay, well, give me. You'd be to calculate 95% increase. That would be something like from 20% on a free and reduced price lunch to 40%.
Okay, well, just
or 30% to 60%.
It was. I mean,
that much.
It was that much. Just to give you an example, the school that my child is districted for, when we moved here in 2006, the percentage of students at this school was in the low 30s. And this year...
That's free and reduced lunch.
Free and reduced lunch,
okay.
Was around low 30...
31,
something.
32.
Yeah, something like that. And then now it's 64%. And you saw, significant increases in most school, and most of the poverty is concentrated in the elementary schools. There's a lot higher percentage of free and reduced lunch recipients in the elementary schools. But if you sit there and you look at the percentage of students that are receiving a free and reduced lunch at a particular point in time, and then you tack on 3, 4, 5 years to it, and okay, that most of those students would matriculate to the middle school, it's not that much better. So that kind of gives you an indication that one of two things are happening, or it's a function of two things. Either the family's financial situation is not improving if they're staying here in Paulding County, or you also have families moving into Paulding County that are economically worse off.
Challenged. Yeah,
Yes.
and I think that probably the mantra these days is that, gosh, the middle class is being decimated. The middle class is not growing. The middle class is taking it on the chin, and that would tend to confirm that things aren't getting better for people.
And they're not. And you can sit there and you look at the average age of somebody who's making minimum wage, and the average age is in the mid-30s. Is the average age of somebody making minimum wage currently, and a good quarter of those are over 40%, or over the age of 40. So.
Well, you were to carry on with that. You were making the point to the commission, and we're not going to play the video from the commission on that part at least.
Okay.
But that what we really need to do is we need to get really dedicated toward getting jobs and getting economic development. And you were said you were upset over the fact that they took away staff positions that were out there to get grants to help do that type of stuff.
Right,
and
the governmental affairs position that they cut, one of their functions was
go get grants.
And I have danced around the belly that is grant writing, and I can guarantee you it's a knack and it's a skill, and you have to have the time to search out grants that are available from various different governmental agencies as well as nonprofits, and then you also have to have the time to write the thing, and there is a knack to writing it in such a way, and then you have to pull together all the data to support.
But if you're not paying somebody to do that, they generally don't.
No, because it's very difficult. It's very time consuming to gather the data. And yes.
And you got to get everything in. But anyway, you had a phone call as a result of that.
Well, yes, I did get a call from David Austin, and he was glad that I spoke on the issue because there was a lot of good data, because I put it into the context of what it really means to be a child who lives in a household that receives a free or reduced lunch, and 80% of the children in Paulding County, like as of this school year, are receiving
80%?
80% of the children who are receiving free and reduced lunch are in fact receiving a free lunch. So that means that their family is eligible for food stamps, and you can tell what their household income is, because in order to receive a free lunch, you have to be at 130% or less of the poverty level. So you're talking about, $25,000
for a family of four.
For a family of three, and then it's about $30,000, right around in that area, for a family of four. And you also have to have less than $3,000 in liquid assets. But statistics will also show that 50% of those children that are receiving a free lunch live below the poverty level, which is $23,500 for a family of four. And then statistics also show that if you live in a family that has an income of less than 2 times the poverty level, there's a high probability that your needs are not being met. So it's a very dire circumstance for 13,000 children in Paulding County right now. And when I got the data from the BOE, they were still processing free and reduced lunch applications, so it's probably going to go up.
But the 80% was not of all the kids. It was 80% of all the kids that get free and reduced lunch got a free one.
Right.
So it just says that.
There were.
Okay.
We're
looking at 60% of the kids in the school system, or 50%, or 40%, or
44% this year of all students in the school system were receiving a free or
almost half. Almost half. Okay. Right. But it's up from 25% or whatever.
Yeah, it's gone up. It's gone up since 2005, and then the last year or two, it's kind of gone up, and then now it's just kind of hovering right around, 43, 44%.
Okay, but the idea that David. What was David's reading of the way the commission?
Well, he did call me, and unfortunately, I wasn't there. So he had just left a message on my voicemail saying that it was really good information, and he appreciated it, and he hoped that the other board of commissioners were as concerned about that issue as he was.
Well, good. That was nice of him to say that. Actually, that whole bit, because I saw in the video that they had to vote to let you have extra time, and vote to let you have extra time, and vote to let you have extra time to.
And I really try to cut it down. I mean,
no, I know. We can tell. We can tell.
No. I mean, it's different.
We're earning the PhDs.
Well, no.
Okay?
When I sit there and I was preparing it, I put down everything I wanted to talk about, and when
it was 20 minutes or 30 minutes.
It was about 15, and so I cut it. And I, went through it, and I think I had about 7 minutes,
Well, let me ask you this.
It's a little bit different when you, get up there.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Okay? And that is, do you think if you had paid $160,000 in property taxes, they'd let you speak without interruption?
No.
No?
No, because I'm not a super citizen.
Well, if you paid $160,000 in property taxes, would you not be a super citizen?
I would.
Even if you didn't live in the county. Even if you didn't live in the county.
I would be living in kind of like a Tea Party animal farm, fantasy land where some animals are
more equal than others. I love it. All animals are equal, except some animals are more equal than others.
That's right.
The pigs are the most equal of all the animals. Mm-hmm. Oink, oink. Mm-hmm. And this pigs has got a connotation that goes over the centuries. But anyway,
I was kind of shocked that they would approach their justification for allowing Roy to have 15 minutes when they had a 3-2 vote. I mean, they could have gotten up there and said, they could have said, Roy's our best friend, and we're going to give him 15 minutes just for that reason, and 3-2, and you're over with it. They had also talked about the point that at the previous meeting, Roy didn't get all of the time because of questions or whatever.
Yeah,
so they could have given that as a justification for giving him more time, or it is an important issue, and they could have said, he's got some good information, and he did have some really good information, and about
his estimates were
we need another reservoir because there is excess capacity at reservoirs in our area, and so that did get my little mind going, and I did even do some research into, I don't necessarily see that is as a bad thing. It's an opportunity because it's an opportunity to potentially bring in industry that uses a lot of water. You've had semiconductor manufacturing move out of California because of drought situations, and there's opportunities if you have a lot of water to bring in certain types of industries as well as suppliers. So I see it as potentially an opportunity. And if you've got a good economic developer, they do, their SWOT analysis, is your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat, and you capitalize on those strengths and opportunities, and you market those.
Sure, and that would be, that's known as having assets. In other words, it's kind of like, to live day to day in this society and maintain a basic household like most people do, you can spend every bit of money you got, and then you can spend it every month, and you can just go, from hand to mouth. But you can keep it up. You can keep up with the rat race, or if you sock it away, you have more, and then you can do something with it because you've got assets, and a whole lot of water would be an asset. in that
I do,
a surplus of water. But I mean,
and
Roy wants
everything-
us to go hand to mouth
Right.
on the water because we don't need those extra assets.
Right, and everything that I've read,
If it's going to cost him a dime more in taxes.
and everything that I've read over the next 20, 30 years, water is going to be not only an issue here in the United States, but globally.
How old were you in 1987?
15.
When you were 15, I was in a leadership Arkansas class in Arkansas, where we spent a whole weekend talking about the water. Mm-hmm. And the fact that Arkansas was blessed with a whole lot of water because we're right there on the Mississippi River in a whole bit, but how everybody else wasn't. Mm-hmm. And how rare water was. In fact, it was almost like they were making pictures like water is the new gold, the new oil. Water is a big deal.
And that's what they're saying, and that's everything that I'm reading.
Yeah, I know. And they've been saying it since you were in knee highs.
But anyway, so there were a lot of reasons that they could have given for allowing Roy to have 15 minutes, and I'm glad that he did have.
Well, I'll tell you what.
But instead,
let's play
okay.
that little piece.
Okay. People got to see it to believe it.
Roy Sparks, reservoirs.
Good morning, Commission Chairman and Commissioners.
Roy,
Good morning.
hold on before you speak.
Yes, sir.
It's noted that Roy is not a citizen of our county. However, for the last 10 years, he has paid $168,627.84 in property taxes. This 5-man board of commissioners here has paid a total of $104,591.30. And Roy has called and asked me to give him 15 minutes this morning. Normally we don't do this, but I'm going to make a motion this morning that he get his 15 minutes. And I'm asking for that for Roy.
There's a second.
I make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Nay?
Thank you, gentlemen.
You know, you know what really is the funny part about all this, and this I'm going to. In fact, let me just play this next little piece because it comes out the reality of this.
Earlier today, we heard some comments, and you know, it's a little disheartening to me that we decide that we're going to let people speak based on the amount of taxes they pay, or maybe they don't pay. I think that was a wrong move on our part, and now we sort of set a precedent that, you know, if you pay a lot of taxes, you have more time than the average Joe to pay. And the numbers that we heard today were wrong. I pay exactly the same amount of taxes as Mr. Sparks. So I hate when numbers are just thrown out and no checking is done. There's no executive session, no participation on agenda items. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Could I make a comment?
Sure.
I thought we were almost done. There may have been something that said that wasn't 100% right. I'm not sure. I didn't participate in that part of it. I think probably where that came from was the last meeting. I know that Mr. Sharon got up and he spoke, and then a lot of questions were asked, and he had some more time, and Mr. Sparks didn't get a chance to finish, and I think that's kind of where that came from. And I don't think it matters whether you're a citizen and you don't pay property taxes, or whether you're somebody that pays property taxes and you're not a citizen. I really don't think that's what came into play.
That's what we said today. Because of the volume of taxes he paid, he got given 15 more minutes.
Well, that I don't.
We could have just given him the time, you know. You know, I think back on when he led a tax protest, mainly against me, and said I was raising taxes, when absolutely I was not raising taxes. We raised millage, but it did not raise taxes. And a protest was done, people signed a petition, and yet there was no tax increase. I just hate for false information to be out there in the public.
I think I made a motion to, Mr. Crowe made a motion to give him more time, and it was seconded, and we voted. I didn't know it was based on taxes, and I'm really not trying to argue, but I feel like Mr. Sparks deserved a little bit more time because of what had happened before, and I think we were trying to make things right. And so with that said, I make a motion we continue to try to make things right.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
And what we're talking about right here is, it's not true that Roy pays more taxes than all the
The David Austin too.
Yeah, David pays as much in taxes as he does.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And so here you got it. I mean, it's kind of like, after listening to Tony and Todd, if you will, it was kind of like Roy was the new Donald Trump, who's the billionaire, man, and we got to listen to the billionaire because he's a billionaire,
Yeah, he even had somebody come behind him, giving accolades to him, and I think Roy is
a fine fella.
we're not
really ragging on Roy.
I have nothing against Roy. He does a great job of researching the issue.
Absolutely.
And
love to have him come on here and talk.
Uncovering government issues.
I think he may assume the worst as opposed to assuming that. In other words, I think he assumes the worst about people.
I like to hear what Roy has to say. He has a lot of facts. I don't necessarily agree with his
interpretation
analysis of it, and because I saw opportunity for the geographic area if we have
plenty of water.
Plenty of water, yes, exactly. But
as we, in fact, I'm going to break it right here again for another little bit.
Okay.
Which was a feel-good piece.
Okay.
Because see, life is like a ball game, and if you're sitting behind home plate, maybe you think you can call balls and strikes. If you're on the right field line, I don't know that you can. But we all see a different part of the game. Depends on who you're with. Are you with your spouse? Are you with your buddy? Are you with your kid? Are you paying attention to the game? But life is a ball game. We all see it different. And at the end of the game, we all got our own reasons why our team won or lost. And we need to be respectful of one another.
Now isn't everything just forgiven now? I mean, doesn't that warm fuzzies? Don't you have warm fuzzies? You got warm fuzzies after listening?
No, I kind of got the impression when he started saying that was kind of like code for I am gearing up to run for chairman. That's what I got.
You mean to say that basically he's kind of he's a politician?
Yes.
Okay, and when it comes to politicians, one of my favorite politicians, and you're going to be surprised at this, is Bob Barr. Because of all the people that I've run across in politics, Bob Barr is certainly opinionated, and I disagree with him on a lot of policy things, but he's been pretty truthful in what he says. And one, the best one was down in the room under the chamber. He was down there came in for a meeting. This is back in 95, 96, 97, somewhere along in there. And he says, you know how you can tell if a politician's lying?
Their lips are moving.
Their lips are moving. I mean, it's an old joke, but he said, I was really proud because, and he actually, we were talking about some of the foreign affairs stuff, and he says, I actually feel pretty good about what I told you folks being the truth. And, I actually did acknowledge that what he said was a very adept presentation. So it's moments like that that always made me appreciate Bob Barr. But carrying on, the tone that obviously Todd was trying to put out, that they're working together. Of course, that.
Well, he's trying to move to the middle because, you've got two factions on the Board of Commissioner and they're polarizing, and in order to maximize his appeal to the maximum amount of voters, he's got to kind of move to the center.
Well, yeah, he's got to move to the center, but where is he? Is maybe the question. This may fall in the area of analysis, and he kind of backed off the idea that he was supporting Roy having more time to speak because Roy had paid a lot of taxes, but that's actually is a pretty good.
Explicitly said that. I mean, there's not a whole lot of other way that you can interpret that. I just hope
from what Tony said,
that they didn't really mean it to come across that way. But it doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter what the reality is. It's how it's perceived.
Actions speak louder than words, and that was their action, was to give him extra time because he pays a lot of taxes. And that is the action that they did.
All I can think about is I have heard this before, and let's see.
It's a common attitude.
Here we go. Tea Party Nation President Judson Phillips advocates taxation without representation, and
well, that's a liberal headline on something. I'm sure he's saying that only people ought to vote are people with property.
Right. He's basically saying that if you're a property owner, you have a vested stake in the community, and if you're not a property owner, well,
You don't.
You don't.
And you really don't count. And that's kind of that is where this nation was founded.
Exactly.
And if you are an originalist, like, who was that? Scalia?
Mm-hmm.
He's the originalist. Then everything's got to be put through that filter of the originalists. And and that's what the Tea Party's doing. Everything's original, like it was in the old days. We got to go back to the way it was in the old days.
And that's what the Tea Party, and so that's what the Tea Party Nation president was espousing. And then we've also seen other Tea Party candidates and people who've been elected espousing the same thing. And basically, like you said, what they're espousing is going back to the way it originally was when the country was founded.
That is the essence of conservatism. Things were better back then. Let's go back to back then.
But my question is to the Tea Party folks who kind of are dancing around this issue is if they honestly believe, like what the English lawyer William Blackstone
he wrote a famous book about law, in fact.
Okay, and here's what he said. He said that, the freeholders back then paid the bulk of the taxes, and other persons are in so mean a situation as to be esteemed to have no will of their own. So that means, basically, to bring that up to,
Have you ever heard
2015 is that they're so low-minded by rank or birth or position to basically have no understanding or ability to reason.
I know.
That's what they think of, basically, I guess, people
You ever heard anybody say somebody was no account?
Yes.
They're no count. They're no count. They don't count. They're not worthwhile listening to. They don't have anything. They don't offer anything. They don't do anything. They're of no account whatsoever.
And I guess
we can ignore them. We can do whatever we want to with them.
And I guess that's the reason that they're trying to cut out early voting and
if you really
shorten the time on the election day to where people can vote.
If you are really a voter,
you're willing to stand.
The riffraff, like those folks. If you make it hard for them to vote, they won't. And that way you can get them out of the vote. And that's okay if you think that you're going to win by not having people vote. Because,
we've already heard that they don't think that certain people should have the right to vote unless they know who Chris Kyle is, or...
Oh, you're talking about that little blonde gal that got all that press over the false allegation that people were being investigated over the airport, and she was investigated.
Well, she said that on her radio show, and I guess that's disconcerting because, you know, I really believe in the, 15th Amendment to the Constitution here, the Bill of Rights.
Oh, you got one of them books?
I do.
I bet she's got one too.
I bet so. So let's see.
Probably got the same place you did.
That's right. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. But I don't know. It doesn't say anything in here about knowing who Chris Kyle is or not. So that makes me wonder. You know, some of these Tea Party folks are advocating a constitutional convention.
Yeah, I know.
I wonder if they're going to try to amend the 15th.
Oh, they're going to go after the 14th with the automatic, or which one is it? Does the automatic birth and you're a citizen? That's 14th.
Yes.
The 14th. Yeah. Well, they got a few on their thing, but they're going to try. They're going to say, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But anyway,
and that whole birthright citizen. No, it's the 13th. No, 14.
The birth
is 14.
Citizen. Yeah.
Yes, and that's a whole convoluted issue. When Patty and I used to have, and I don't even think you know this, Pat. Patty and I used to have this website, and we had it tinkered with it for about a year. We had a website called Christians for a Better America website.
Christians for a Better America.
We did. So we had this website.
I'm impressed.
Okay. And so one of the things that we had out there was a video by the Heritage Foundation, and they outlined, all the difficulties in changing the amendment concerning birthright citizenship, because right now there's 3 different governmental entities that can bestow citizenship, and when a baby is born, that's the easiest way to get citizenship. And if you do away with the birthright citizenship, you've just created another layer of bureaucracy, because somebody's got to be able to figure out if this baby is entitled to citizenship, and somebody has to create all of the guidelines that this baby has to, meet in order to be a citizen. So
smaller government, we're for smaller government. We're going to do this.
You still have these other entities that can still defer, confer citizenship. So you've just made government bigger by doing this. And so I encourage people to, if you really want to know what would be involved in getting rid of birthright citizenship, to kind of dig around on the internet and find this Heritage Foundation. It's about 45 minutes long, but if you watch it, I guarantee you your minds will be changed about getting rid of it, because it's just a government boondoggle, and you made it bigger by doing this.
Well, they got to get jobs that are
for their brother-in-laws
that are arbitrary and easy to do, because I always thought that the small government folks, small government ought not to do anything. Elect me to run that government that doesn't do anything is like, let me, because I don't want to do nothing, and I'll promise you I won't do nothing. And so, just elect me, so pay me, and I won't do anything.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do, I want that job.
I want that job too.
Well, hey, look, we got a lot of conservatives out running for these jobs. In Paulding County, you got to be a conservative to get elected. Just ask Tony Crow. Anyway, with that, the PhD, we're really not that. We will invite PhDs if they choose to appear. But this is Pat Hughes and Deena Sanfilippo, and we're out of here.